Hi, everyone. We are talking today about the RLA Risk Mitigation Program and the claims process for project-based RLA voucher units. This presentation is intended for owners and property managers who have RLA project-based units in their portfolio, as well as service providers who work with project-based RLA households. Today, we'll discuss the purpose of the RMP, the claim limits, what type of expenses are eligible to include in a claim, ineligible expenses, and how to access the program and submit a claim. Introductions. I'm Liz Winchester, and my colleague is Miriam Elshaiji Hill, and we are part of the asset management team at the Housing Development Center, or HDC. HDC administers the Risk Mitigation Program for the Regional Long-Term Rental Assistance Program, or RLA. A little about HDC. We are a nonprofit consulting group that was founded in 1993, and we focus on affordable housing development, asset management, and policy and industry support. The RLA program is a partnership that brings together Clackamas, Multnomah, and Washington counties, their housing authorities, supportive service providers, and property owners, and who are working together to help reduce eligibility barriers and increase stability for those with the most barriers to housing. The inclusion of supportive services for all households is a critical component of the RLA program for households with tenant-based vouchers or those living in a project-based RLA unit. The goal of the RLA Risk Mitigation Program is to help increase housing opportunities for those in the program by allowing RLA property owners to request reimbursement for excessive physical damage or operational loss in RLA units. The RLA RMP is intended both as a financial incentive or safety net for participating landlords, as well as an important eviction prevention tool for RLA households. And now I will hand it off to my colleague, Miriam, to talk more about the program and the details and what can be included in eligible expenses.
Thank you. So as Liz has mentioned, HDC administers the RLA RMP for Clackamas, Multnomah, and Washington County. HDC handles the claims, leads an RLA RMP advisory committee, and plans training and events. The committee meets twice a year for a few hours each time, and the primary responsibility will be reviewing and proposing changes to policies, with the three counties having final say on policy changes. A property owner who owns a unit with a project-based RLA located within the metro boundary of Clackamas, Multnomah, or Washington County, or renting a unit within the metro boundary to a household that has a tenant-based RLA voucher has access to the RLA RMP. So, what is the difference between a tenant-based and a project-based voucher? A project-based RLA voucher is attached to a specific unit or a property. For example, it could be that Unit 101, a one-bedroom unit, is always an RLA unit, or that you could use the RLA voucher for another one-bedroom unit at the same property. A tenant-based RLA voucher can move around with the tenant. If the tenant leaves your property, then so does the RLA voucher. If you're unsure which type of RLA voucher is paying part of the rent to you, please contact the housing authority that issued the voucher to your tenant or your county's landlord liaison for assistance. So there are limits to the RLA project-based claims, and they range based on the type of unit. SROs have a limit of 10,500. Studios have a limit of 12,600, and it goes up to 30,000 for 4+ bedrooms. An owner can include the cost of damages up to 5 units in a single RMP claim, if the damage was caused by the RLA household or a guest of that household. For project-based RLA units, the maximum amount an owner can be reimbursed is calculated by adding up the per claim amount by unit type involved in the claim. So an example of that would be if a claim included physical damage to 2 one-bedroom units and 3 three-bedroom units, then the maximum amount would be 103,000. If common area expenses are included, it would count as one of the 5 units that can be included in the claim. So what does it cover? For physical damage, it's anything beyond normal wear and tear or regular turnover. So that include excessive damages to the unit, and documentation of that damage will be required. Typically, that will come from an invoice from a third party, though a work order, bid, or estimate are also allowed if an invoice is not yet available. And it could include things like excessive cleaning, and the property can ask your cleaning service to note on its invoice how much was used, how much was for regular cleaning, and how much was for excessive cleaning. It can cover debris removal, while the obvious situation is one in which a tenant leaves behind items. This could also apply in a situation in which there is a hoarding in the unit and removal of debris is necessary to make repairs. It can cover exterminations, repair and replacement of doors, walls, cabinetry that is beyond normal touch-up, and any other damage that exceeds what is normally experienced during a tenancy. For physical damage amounts approved, there is also a 5% administrative fee for the supervision of repairs. Because the RLA RMP is designed to help prevent evictions and support housing stability, there is no requirement that a tenant vacate a unit before a property owner can request funds. And again, physical damage items are only eligible if they are the result of the actions of the RLA household or their guest. Note that a move-in, move-out form, if applicable, is the best way for HDC to confirm that the damage occurred during the tenancy, and any available pictures that you might have would be helpful as well. Um, as mentioned previously, common area damage can also be included in a claim if it's the result of the RLA household or their guest, and the owner or owner representative will need to provide some evidence that the RLA household or their guest caused the damage in the form of a witness affidavit. The owner's self-certification of the tenant causing the common area damage is not sufficient. So, operational losses that we cover, an owner can ask for up to 90 days of the tenant portion of rent if unpaid. In most cases, the RLA RMP will not pay the RLA portion of rent. However, an owner may be able to claim the full rent if the RLA household causes excessive damage to the unit that leads to longer than normal unit turnover period, or in the case of project-based units, if the qualified RLA, if it takes longer than longer than 60 days to receive a qualified RLA tenant. We also can cover tenant late fees, lease break fees, non-compliance, and unpaid utilities. Legal fees can be included, but because the intent of the program is to be an eviction prevention tool, we require narrative on why you chose to go the legal route or why you had to go the legal route. We can also cover relocation expenses when a move is necessary to protect the property, the staff, or other tenants from physical harm. If an RLRA RMP claim is approved, any amount paid to the owner must be subtracted from the amount owed by the household. While we acknowledge that other amounts might still be owed, an owner cannot try to collect money from a household for damages or operational losses already reimbursed by the RLRA RMP. It is also important to note that the household that receives rent assistance through the RLA program are not part of the RLA RMP claim process. Payment by the RLA RMP for approved claims are not evidence that specific individuals or households are culpable for damage or loss covered by those claims. So what doesn't it cover? For physical damage, we will not cover a normal wear and tear, such as minor carpet repair or cleaning. Normal turnover expenses, such as painting costs, regular cleaning, damage within a unit not caused by the RLA household or their guest. Um, Common area damage that it is not caused by the household or their guest, or for which an owner cannot provide evidence, such a witness affidavit. Also, if qualified incidents results in damages to, for example, 7 units, only damages related to 5 units can be included in the claim. For operational losses, we cannot cover things like increases to your insurance premium, cost of supportive services, lost rent during initial lease-up period, and unpaid rent from the tenant that is over 90 days. So how do you access it? At the link shown on this slide or through our website, you will find our RLA RMP policies, our frequently asked questions, as well as our Excel version of our claim form and a web version of our claim form. Please note that the claim submission process will ask owners about any other source of funds that they receive related to the items they are claiming. The claim review process will deduct any security deposit not already being used for other amounts owed if the tenant has vacated the units. It will also take into account amounts already collected from the tenant or any insurance claim proceeds. So, in order to process your claim, we will ask you for the following: either a completed Excel version of the claim form or the web version of the claim form. We will also ask you for eligibility documents such as the tenant lease, move-in, move-out form, submitting documentation for expenses such as invoices or bids, the tenant ledger. We also ask for your payment information. If you prefer payment by ACH or direct deposit, then we ask you to fill out that form and submit a W-9 for the property. Most claims will receive payment within about 65 days of submitting all required data and supporting documents to HDC. The clock does not start until the claim is complete. Once the claim is complete, it will take HDC around 10 business days to either approve or deny your request for reimbursement. Then HDC bills your county for the amount your approved claim after the next close of HDC's monthly billing cycle. The county is billed within the first 15 days of the month following the date your claim is approved. For example, if your claim is approved on January 1st, HDC will bill the county somewhere between February 1st and February 15th. The county returns a payment to HDC within 30 days of receiving that invoice, and then HDC returns payment to you within 30 days thereafter. It usually does not take HDC 30 days, but it just depends on the circumstances. Please don't hesitate to contact either me or Liz if you have questions about claims. You feel free to contact me as I will be the ones processing those claims. As we also stated previously that we have an advisory committee. If you're interested in joining that advisory committee, please feel free to reach out directly to me or to Liz.
Thank you again for watching this presentation today. And as Miriam mentioned, please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions. We also have quarterly info sessions and would love to have you join those as well. The information for those is on our website. Thank you and have a good rest of your day.